Hey, welcome back to our final day of Morning Manna this week. My name is Anna. It's been such a joy to be with you. All week long, we've looked at stories of God doing the seemingly impossible in people's lives. Every story required an action step fueled by faith. To receive the impossible, those who received promises from God had to move in the direction of the promise. God was the one who accomplished the impossible in their lives, but their faith was the seedbed for the miraculous. So, what happens when we need a miracle, but we lack the faith for the miracle? In Matthew 13, it describes a time in Jesus' ministry when he returned to his hometown. He had been traveling, preaching the message of the kingdom, performing miracles, bringing healing and life into impossible situations. But when he returned home to his hometown, familiarity bred contempt. The people who had known him since birth or knew of his birth were astonished at his reputation. But not in wonder and amazement. Instead, they were caught in cynicism and critique. Verse 58 says that, "And he did not do many works there because of their unbelief." Just as our faith invites God to move on our behalf, our unbelief will cause us to live within the realm of our own abilities and forsake the blessings that come through faith. Nothing is impossible with God, but our unbelief will prevent us from stepping into his impossibilities and leave us living within our own. So what do we do when we lack faith? What do we do when we don't believe that things could ever change? There's a story in 3 of the Gospels. They tell a story of a father whose son had been tormented by demons for years. He brought his son to Jesus' disciples for healing and deliverance, but they were unable to help the boy. When Jesus learned about this, he rebuked them for their lack of faith. That seems harsh, but the truth was the freedom they earnestly desired for this boy would only come through faith in God's ability to do the impossible. Mark chapter 9, verses 21 through 24 record Jesus' response. It says, "And Jesus asked the father, 'How long has this been happening to him?' And he replied, 'From childhood. It's often cast him into the fire, into the water, and to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us.' And Jesus said to him, 'If you can, all things are possible for the one who believes.' Immediately, the father of the child cried out and said, 'I believe. Help me in my unbelief.'" When we lack faith, we simply need to ask God for it. Like the father cried out in desperation, "I believe, but help me in my unbelief." Let that be our prayer in those areas. It's a simple prayer, an admission of our weakness, but it can become the springboard to a life where the impossible becomes possible, because nothing is impossible with God.